Hello, and welcome to my Week 1 team prep for MDA. This time, my opponent is Dunnigan and their Midland Marowaks. So first off, their team is pretty threatening, but only at a certain couple of axes. Instead of, dealing with, like, 4 threats, I'm worried only about a couple ones this week, at least. If something surprises me and I get surprised, well, good job by Dunnigan, and that was a bad job by me. But first off, let's go off what they all have. They have a Scrafty, an Arbaliva, a male Meowstic that is specifically just male Meowstic, that's not male or female, those are 2 different Pokemon in the draft, an Arbok, which can Terra into a Poison or a Dragon type, a Furret, a Bastiodon that can Terra into a Steel or a Fighting type, and a Tropius and a Croconaw. So right off the bat, I thought, oh man, this is the freest bring of Bruxish in my life. So, we have Glasgow. Swords Dance, Wave Crash, Terra Blast, Psychic Fangs with Dazzling. And you're wondering, why not Strong Jaw? Well, this is meant to come in on that Meowstic every time and get free setup. Because of Dazzling, I cannot be Prankster T-Waved. I cannot be affected by Prankster in any way. Psychic Fangs breaks screens, and that's a free Swords Dance. If they have Thunderbolt or Charge Beam, good bring by them. I don't think that's going to happen. I think if Meowstic's going to come, it's going to be something like Light Screen Reflect, Thunder Wave, Psychic Move, or something like that. Or Charm, even, to, help against Tauros. This should be a pretty free setup for Glasgow here, and then I can just start breaking the team up. I don't know if it'll win, but it'll certainly help break for my other Pokemon here. And, for those who don't know, breaking is what I mean when we start weakening the other team, chunking their HP, moving them from the game, maybe you get 1 or 2 KOs and that you remove a critical wall for your other heavy hitter to get through. That's what I want Bruxish to do. If it wins, great, but if it just breaks the team and, weakens it enough that my other Pokemon can win, so much the better. I'm Terra Fighting this week so I can hit Scrafty and Arbaliva with Terra Blast Fighting. It will do a chunk. +2 through Reflect. 2 it KOs max HP Scrafty if it is not running any physical defense, and will 2-hit KO even physically defensive Arbaliva. So, speaking of that Arbok from earlier, which is a huge, huge threat to this team, by the way, I brought physically defensive Camerupt this week. Got Flamethrower, Earth Power, Roar, and Stealth Rock with 244 HP, 252 defense, and 12 speed to ensure I outspeed any, speed creeping Bastiodon, just in case it's running a little bit of speed here. Flamethrower Earth Power hits the team pretty much entirely neutrally, no matter what set Pokemon it is. And then I'm having this defensive set will live +1 Earthquake from Arbok, and a 4-hit Scale Shot, even a 5-hit, with loaded dice. And then I have Roar to get send it out, Earth Power, Flamethrower to damage it if it's not Terra Dragon yet, and then Stealth Rock will just help me get Chip on the team and help me get some nice needed KOs there. I'm not running Will-O-Wisp because Arbok could be Terra Dragon. Same with Scrafty, which is also kind of help check if it's running Bulk Up or Dragon Dance. Both of those Pokemon have Shed Skin, and I don't want to lose the game to what amounts to a Scald Burn chance, a 30% chance to just remove status. I don't want to lose the game to that. My way of prep is I remove as much RNG as possible and just try to hope that I play as well as I can, and I don't have to rely on a crit, don't have to rely on luck. If I end up having to rely on luck in the battle, so be it, but I want to remove that from the equation as much as humanly possible. And speaking of removing things from the equation, here is the remover. We're bringing Tauros this week, and I have a feeling we're going to bring Tauros every week. This Mon is a demon. Heavy day here, we got Body Slam, Close Combat, Raging Bolt, and Outrage. 68 HP, 252 attack, 188 speed with a Jolly Nature. This outspeeds everything up to and including a +1 Adamant Croconaw after a Dragon Dance, and a +1 +1 Jolly Tropius after a Dragon Dance. So this outspeeds all the Dragon Dancers. I can't quite outspeed Jolly Croconaw. That hits 354, and Tauros' max speed is 350, so we're splitting the difference here. Body Slam, Close Combat are pretty self-explanatory. That hits the entire team neutrally or super effectively. Raging Bull will break the screens. Originally this was Earthquake, but Body Slam turns out that Oko's Arbok before a coil. So Tauros is broken. And speaking of Arbok, Outrage will absolutely destroy that thing if it goes for a Terra Dragon. Normally, I would never run Outrage, but, you know, Terra Dragon Arbok is that much of a threat to my team, so I'm bringing this as a catch-all and, you know, just in case. And speaking of dragons, Anathema! Altaria's coming this week. Boomblast, Roost, Draco Meteor, and T-Fog. This is my hazard removal, in case they decide to get a little frisky with Bastiodon, with Stealth Rock and stuff like that. T-Fog will also get rid of Arbaliva's grassy terrain, and it will get rid of Meowstic screens. So this is great for getting rid of all that nonsense. And speaking of Arbaliva, this is my Arbaliva switch-in. I'm running basically 252 HP, 52 special attack, and 204 Spadef. I wall Arbaliva forever. And I also wall any setup of Meowstic as well, just in case. This is going to be my pivot into Arbaliva, so if I say, like, it comes in on my Belly Bolt, and I Volt Switch, and it wants to, like, nuke me with something with, like, Hyper Voice or Leaf Storm, Altaria could come in every time. I'm running Moonblast to hit Scrafty 4 times effective. It should pretty much always knock it out unless it's running a heavy Spadef nature. And then Roost is for longevity, and Draco is just my nuke. Even though I only have 189 special attack, again, lower power level of lower tier means I can just, like, drop 130 base power move, and something is taking a chunk. There's not really much reliable recovery on that team. Like, Tropius and Arbaliva are the only Pokemon that will reliably recover their HP more often than not. And speaking of Belly Bolt from earlier, it's time for Shock Melody, Volt Switch, Slack Off, Discharge, and Mudshot. This is my secondary answer to both Scrafty and Arbok. Volt Switch, they have no ground type on their team, so Volt Switch and Discharge are 100% free. I can click them with no downside, no fear. I'm running a Shukaberry to help with Arbok because it will make me live in Earthquake, guaranteed. Mudshot is actually to keep Arbok's speed in check. So say it is like at +1 with Coil, +1 attack, and it has like and it goes for Scale Shot. I keep clicking Mudshot to ensure that it can't keep boosting its speed. And if I keep doing that, it'll keep lowering its defense with Scale Shot, and that means if it's always going to be at neutral or +1, I should be able to always revenge kill it, no matter what. But I need to make sure I click Mudshot before I click Scale Shot, so it stays at neutral. So that's my little tech for this week, is ensuring Arbok's speed is kept at neutral, so Tauros can always revenge kill it. And on the off chance it gets stuck at +1 speed, I have another answer. Finally, we're bringing out Morgrem. Gizmo is the nickname for this thing. Don't feed this thing after midnight. Parting Shot, Dazzling Gleam, Thunder Wave, and Taunt. Parting Shot is a good pivot move. It lets me pivot around the team, weaken them, so I can bring in my heavy hitters and Glasgow and Heavy Day. Dazzling Gleam is really, really, really good here. Fairy coverage is very good this week. It'll hit Scrafty 4 times effective. I don't think it'll ever OHKO it because Morgrem's a little weak. Thunder Wave will help me against Arbok and other things. I need to remember, though, I cannot Thunder Wave or Party Shot against Scrafty because of its Dark type. For those who don't remember, Prankster moves don't affect Dark types as of Gen 7, I believe it was. And then Taunt will help me also against Arbok. It won't be able to coil off of that. It also means they can't, like, taunt screens with Meowstic. This is my catch-all support mon. Hopefully I will be able to Parting Shot around the team, Dazzling Gleam, and Thunder Wave everything I need to, so all my heavy hitters can break this. Goal this week is to pivot around with all my support mons, with Jogo, Anathema, Shock Melody, and Gizmo, and then bring in Glasgow and Heavy Day and just break the team in two. Fingers crossed everything goes to plan. I'll see you guys in the battle when it goes up live.